Hello everybody and welcome to our presentation today on addressing picky eaters. This has been a highly requested topic from people that I know because they have picky eaters, either just being a picky child or maybe having some sensory difficulties. So let's dig into that and see what we can do to address people who are picky eaters. So let's dig in. Why is my child so picky? That may be the question that is on your mind. There's a few reasons for this, just depending on your child, and even just depending on yourself, you may be a picky adult as well. Some of the problems on why your child may be so picky, they may be having sensory difficulties with their food, such as the texture or the smell. They may have a low appetite issue or perhaps a food sensitivity that is upsetting them. That's why they don't want to eat the food. It can be simple lack of interest. That food doesn't look good. I'm not hungry. I don't want that. Or it could be maybe lack of a structured diet. When I say structured diet, it typically just means I'm thinking of you eat around the same times every day, you have a structured meal routine, and there are some expectations at mealtime. So digging into some of these reasons why the kid may be a picky eater, let's dig into the first one, sensory difficulties. As a teacher in the autism classroom, this is the one that I have the most experience with. I am not a parent, but I do have a lot of experience with young children eating and being picky and getting them how to eat certain things. I have definitely pulled from a plethora of experience from parents and other teachers. So sensory difficulties, first of all, we could be talking about a texture or a flavor that is causing your child difficulty with eating that food. A common problem could be when it comes to texture, the food is slimy, it's mealy, it's squishy, or it's fibrous. My word for fibrous when I was growing up was Yankee. When it comes to like a meat, if you hit a piece of gristle or something like that, I still have sensory issues with that to this day. Those are the most problem textures I've come across. Most children really enjoy eating crunchy food, sweet food. There's a reason why they have a few limited preferences. The foods tend to be the same every time they eat them. They expect that this wheat thin is going to be the same as the wheat thin I ate the other day. I don't have any surprises coming in there. Another sensory difficulty could be the temperature of the food. Some people do not like really hot or really cold food. They might like it room temperature, or it could be the opposite. If it's something that's supposed to be hot, they need it to be hot. I don't eat cold macaroni and cheese. I want that macaroni and cheese to be hot. Some people do eat cold macaroni and cheese, but that's not the point. Anyway, strong smells could be a factor. My big one growing up was Brussels sprouts, broccoli, spinach, the typical kind of yucky foods. Fish or fried food, oil might be a smell factor there. So those might be some issues that are causing your child to not want to eat the food. And then when it comes to fruits and vegetables, those are usually the most challenging because they naturally are inconsistent with flavor and texture depending on the ripeness and the variety. The blueberry that they had yesterday may have been really sweet and firm, but the blueberry they had today was squishy and sour. And the blueberry they have tomorrow might be just bursting with flavor, but they've had that bad experience, so they don't want to have the blueberry. Or it could be just a presentation of, but my kid loves green beans. Well, your kid may like canned green beans. They don't like the fresh green beans. Something like that. Any variation in texture or flavor, any inconsistency that may be causing some of the resistance with eating the food if they had a bad experience. They've never had a bad experience with a Cheeto. A Cheeto is the same every time they eat it. There's memes about it. So if your child is having some problems, it could be that they're having sensory difficulties relating to texture and flavor of the food. You can definitely keep an eye on which textures and flavors they don't like. Keep a note of it, and then you can tackle that problem a little bit later down the road once you know what they definitely have issues with. When it comes to the sensory difficulties, a lot of children, especially autistic children, they have limited food preferences. They want to eat the goldfish and the Little Debbie cakes, and the grapes every day. They want the same food every single time. And there's not necessarily a problem with that other than they're not getting, all their nutrients. They need to have a variety of diet. So some ways that you can combat that, you can always supplement with vitamin gummies, nutrition shakes like Pedialyte. A lot of parents, or not Pedialyte, Pediasure, those kinds of things can help get some of those vitamins in if your child just refuses to eat any fruits or vegetables. You can always buy pre-packed fruits and veggies that come with like a dip or a nut butter. A lot of kids like those. May come with peanut butter or ranch. May not be the best option, but it definitely could help. And then too, those hidden veggies. That's something that I like in my diet. There's a lot of things these days that have hidden veggies in them. You can get preferred items that your child likes, like crackers or muffins, and blend veggie flours into them. My mom likes to make muffins that have zucchini and carrot and banana, and you'd never know it's in there. They taste delicious. So if your kid really likes muffins or crackers, something like that, try to find something that has those veggies built into it, kind of hidden in there, veggie crackers, veggie chips. If your child likes smoothies, you can try the old, going to put that spinach in this smoothie. I personally don't do that for myself, but if your kid will try it and they like it, more power to you. You can always get your vegetable juices and put them in with your smoothie as well. Some kids might even just like to drink a V8 Splash or a regular V8. You never know until you try. Any way you can sneak those vegetables and fruits and vitamins in, though, if there's sensory difficulties, any way that works for you. You just got to be able to try those different ways. So when it comes to a few problems that you may run into when it comes to meal times, appetites, and food sensitivities, when it comes to appetite problems, a lot of children are just generally peckish. They don't like to eat a lot at the same time. They like to have smaller meals throughout the day, and that's really okay. Our metabolisms work really well when we feed it throughout the day, small meals. It keeps it going. So that's okay if they don't like to eat a whole lot at once, as long as they're eating throughout the day. Your child could be on a medication that's giving them a side effect such as nausea or low appetite. If that's the case, that's something you obviously need to discuss with your doctor to see if there's something you can do to counteract that side effect, or maybe just adjusting meal times to wait until that side effect goes away. It could be that your child has an atypical eating schedule for that day, or just in general, if your child is in school, they probably eat around the same times during every day. If your child's not in school and you don't have a set schedule and you're eating at 10 o'clock and 12 o'clock and then at 6 o'clock, you may run into some issues. If your child's used to eating something every 3 or 4 hours and they have to wait 6 hours to eat a meal, they might get cranky, they might get irritable, they might get sluggish, and they might not want to eat something new that you're presenting them with. It could be that your child is nervous or excited about something that's making them a little queasy or making them too excitable. They don't want to eat anything. They're just too pumped up for that field trip they're going to go on, or too nervous about that dentist appointment that they have to go to. So just be aware if there's anything out of the ordinary going on that may be impacting their wanting to eat something. Some special notes on water. Some children do not like to drink water. They don't like it because it doesn't have a taste. There's plenty of adults that don't like to drink water either, but we have to drink water. We definitely do. If you have a hard time getting your child to drink water, maybe try getting them to chew on ice chips. That might be something a little bit more engaging that still gets them some hydration. A lot of my students like to have Mio or Crystal Light flavoring in their drink. You're still getting the hydration there. You might want to keep Pedialyte on hand or Gatorade. That is not a substitute for water because of the extra things that goes on it, but it will help them to stay hydrated if they're having trouble drinking water. Another thing you might try is just having a special cup. This is little Johnny's water cup. It's got his favorite thing, Spider-Man, on it. He gets to put his own water in there and put his own flavoring or fruit or whatever he wants in there. That's his cup. So if you make it a little special, make it a challenge for them. They might be more interested if it's something that's just specially for them. This is my cup. I have to drink my water in this cup. When it comes to food sensitivities, it could be that your child is having a GI sensitivity to something that you're feeding them. The most common sensitivities are gluten, lactose, sugar. Red meat can give you problems. Some foods and vegetables like beans or greens can give you gas, so they may not be comfortable with that. Some children are sensitive to citrus or to red dye. You're really going to have to just keep a close eye on your student or your child to see if a certain snack you're giving them is upsetting their stomach consistently, or if they're turning away something consistently. It could be something underlying that they just can't communicate. Oh, well, when I eat this orange, I get heartburn. Well, a 3-year-old may not know how to communicate that. So just keep an eye on what foods your child is turning down. If it's the same ones every time, it could be there's something going on in there. And when it comes to food allergies, obviously I'm not a doctor. Sometimes you're just not going to know if your child is allergic to something until they try it. And if there is an allergic reaction going on there, please immediately go see your doctor. And see what's going on there to see if there's anything else you need to look out for. So many kids are allergic to so many things these days. You just got to be really careful to make sure that whatever it is you're trying to get them to eat isn't actually giving them actual discomfort. One more sensitivity you might want to look at is just spices. Spices can be a strong sensory experience. They come in all kinds of flavors. Some of them can be really pungent or spicy. They may have insensitivity to some kinds of spices just depending on what it is. So just be aware of that. If there's a spice that your child likes, like I really love cilantro and basil. If there's a spice that your child likes, maybe put a little bit of that on some of their different foods. It might seem kind of weird, but if they like it, it might get them to eat something. So just a few notes on appetite and sensitivity there. All right, now we've tackled some of those problems. How can we get this picky eater to try something new? It's definitely going to depend on your setting, whether you're in a classroom, a daycare, whether you're at home, whether you're at a restaurant. You want the meal experience to be good. You don't want to look forward to mealtime as being a hassle, and neither does your child. They want to enjoy themselves when they eat, don't we all? So I've gathered a few strategies from my experience, from my mom's experience, from other parents' experiences, and I hope that some of these work for you. We'll just tackle these down the list. Rainbow plate eating. When I mean this, if you think about a rainbow of food, it's kind of like on the presentation. Fruits and vegetables come in every color of the rainbow. If your child's favorite color is red, help them pick out a red food to try. If you've got you can have something as simple as a placemat with different colors of the rainbow, and you could put a piece of food that matches each color on there for them to try. Obviously, this is really going to be time consuming, but it could be something cool if you're trying a bunch of new foods at once. It's a visually interesting experience. Children are usually attracted to color, but if they've got a choice between, oh, I'm going to try this green broccoli or this blue blueberry or this yellow chicken, it might have a little bit easier effect if they're like, oh, I want to try one of everything in the color. Which color did I like the best? Each one of these thoughts, you might just want to try to make that food experience an actual, experience for them. Make it interesting, make it exciting. Obviously, you cannot do this for every meal. Please don't roll your eyes at me. But if every now and then you just present a new food as also a new experience, that might be something that's interesting to them. Sectioned plates, preferred and non-preferred plates. Sectioned plates are as old as time. A lot of children like section plates and adults like section plates because I don't want my black-eyed pea juice messing into my fish sticks. I don't want my salad touching my spaghetti. Some kids have sensory issues with that. If there is a piece of broccoli touching their french fries, they will not eat the french fries. So if you have a sectioned plate to keep preferred and non-preferred foods away from each other, that might help the transition go a little bit long. One of the strategies one of my parents had was, all right, everything you like to eat is on the red plate, but there's something I want you to try that's on this blue plate, and you have to try a bite of it before you leave. But you don't have to try any more after that. Sometimes just telling them that if you try this, I'm not going to force you to eat it. If you don't like it, works. I know this because that worked on me when I was a child. That was my dad's big thing. Try it once. If you don't like it, you don't have to eat it. And I was more likely to try something again the next time if I wasn't forced to eat that food. So the try this or try that choice, maybe you're fixing a meal and there's two things that you know your kid doesn't like. Well, just let them choose one. Which one of these things do you want to try today? And even if they don't want to make a choice, they'll probably pick one over the other. And they may be more willing to try it or eat it all. Another strategy is to offer dips and dressings when we're talking with fruits and vegetables. I'm not a nutritionist expert. That one is definitely up to you. I know yogurt-based dressings are typically healthier than oil-based dressings, and it can be very versatile. You could have a tub of sour cream or cream cheese and make it sweet or savory with just some seasonings. That might get your child to eat the fruits or vegetables that they don't like if they've got a little bit of ranch on the side. Again, to try it once and don't have to try it again that day. You might turn it into letting them give their opinion or review of the food. If they're old enough, well, try it once. Give me a restaurant review. If you don't, give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Give me a 1-star or a 5-star. Give me a yuck or yum rating. If you get their opinion on it and they feel invested in it, then that might be a more positive experience. One thing that might be appealing is social stories. If you look up the term social stories, it's something that a lot of communication teachers and autistic teachers use, and it's basically like a custom-made story where, okay, you turn the page, so-and-so is at the table, so-and-so is getting ready to try a new food, but you put your own child in there, and it just kind of walks them through that experience so that they're not going in blind to this fish you're about to offer them that looks gross. That is something that's a little bit more involved. If you have any questions about making a social story, please feel free to contact me at my email address or on my website. Another thing that's really a great motivator is just having your child be a more active participant in meal times. If you're going shopping, encourage them to pick out something new to try. Maybe it's not something you exactly want to make or something that is healthy per se, but if they have a little bit of agency in choosing something new to try, they're more likely to go through with it. Readable recipes is another interesting idea. We use this one in pre-K if we're doing a snack lesson. You've just got a basic pictures of how to make this food. Frame 1, put out your rice cake. Frame 2, spread the peanut butter. Frame 3, add the bananas. Frame 4, enjoy. Just something a little visual that gives them very simple steps into making their own food. If a child can make their own food, they're more likely to try it. And be a little bit more proud of the fact that they did try it even if they didn't like it. Again, sneaking fruits and vegetables into preferred foods, getting veggie pastas, blending in those veggies into smoothies, maybe doing some mashed banana mixed with your peanut butter. There's a lot of different ways that you can sneak fruits and vegetables into preferred foods. And then just a few thoughts on bargaining and rewarding at meal times. You don't ever want your child to starve, but you also don't want to force them to eat. So that's something that you and your family or your fellow staff members are just going to have to work out. I don't personally have any issue with, well, if you try this, I'll let you have a Skittle. That's not, if you try this, you get to have a cake. There needs to be a little bit of incentive to trying a new food if it's something they really don't want to try. So it's okay to offer that. It could be anything at all. It could be something as small as, a cookie, as small as, well, if you try this, then you don't have to try something next time. You got to figure out what's going to work best for your student or child, but I don't think there's anything wrong with bargaining or rewarding a child for trying something new, especially if it was really, really, really hard. Getting now towards the end of our discussion, let's take a look at structured meals and food experiences. I cannot highly recommend enough having a mealtime routine. It is so important to be present there with your child while they're eating. We eat in front of the TV, we eat while we're on our phones, we eat, hopefully not, but we eat while we're driving. We're not present in our meal times anymore, and our children are going to imitate what we do in the classroom, what we do at home. We really just don't sit down at the table and eat and talk about what we're eating and enjoy that as an experience and not just something that we have to do every day. If possible, you want to try to eat around the same times or intervals, making sure that your child's not going too long without food, but also not trying to feed them too soon after they just had a meal. Again, if you're present in that experience, you can keep an eye on if your child, they might just be getting full early. Um, they may not be hungry. If you're present, you're going to identify maybe what the issue is at that specific meal time and be able to tackle that. If you have those small meals during the day, it could be easier for them to stomach than 3 large meals. It really does support a healthy metabolism and their energy level, and it gives more opportunities for trying new foods. If you're eating 4 or 5 small meals throughout the day, that's more opportunities to present that piece of broccoli or, to present that kind of yogurt instead of just, oh, well, we just try new things one time a day. Why not try something new every time? Or go back to an old food that you don't like very much and see if they'll try it again. You gotta be willing to try everything once with them. They might be more willing to try the food if you are trying that with them. And if they don't like it, it's okay for you to make a yucky face. Oh, I don't like it either. This tastes gross. Maybe we'll like it next time. If you're framing that difficult experience as an adventure, as a discovery, it's really giving you a little bit more interest, a little bit more engagement. You can do anything. You can have them draw a picture about it. You can have them give you that 5-star review or that 1-star review, the thumbs up, the thumbs down. You could make that into a social story after the fact. There are so many things you could do to get your child involved and make that food experience an adventure. If you have intentional planning, that adventure can begin from the store. It can begin at the house. Children love to look through grocery magazines. If you still get them in the mail, they can help you pick out an item on your click list if you're digital shopping. If they get to try those new foods, if they get to pick them out, help you make them if possible, they're going to be a lot more invested in trying that new food. It will be more of an adventure. And even if they don't like it, they'll have a positive experience because they got to do something with you or they got to do something with their classmates that involved, a journey and trying something new and then deciding whether they liked it or not. If you have a routine of introducing new foods or revisiting those non-preferred foods, again, that's going to be real helpful. If one strategy is not working, try a different one. If that one doesn't work, try another one. You can revisit old strategies as your child ages. It just depends on your child. It's very specific. You're going to know immediately what works and what doesn't, depending on how old your child is, if they have any special needs, what your schedule looks like. But if you can try to do these things, it's a lot easier to present something new to them because they're going to be in the routine. They know they're going to have something new put in front of them, and they know that it's not going to end horrible because you're not going to literally shove it down their throat or make them eat something that's going to make them sick. So the big picture here when it comes to working with picky eaters, whether you're in the classroom or in the home, you want to identify the sensory issues, food sensitivities, and allergies that may be causing problems with trying new foods or eating foods that you want them to eat. You also want to offer flexibility and choices. If you give them intentional and immersive food experiences, they'll be more into it. It's not just you have to eat this. Give them some incentive. Let them be involved. Let them give you a 5-star or 1-star restaurant review if that food is horrible. And again, if you have structured meal times or routines, that's really going to help when it comes to trying a new food because they're used to trying new foods all the time. Thanks again for listening. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. You can check out my website, Mobile Teachers Corner, at square.site for more educational tips and resources. If you have any comments, questions, or any suggestions for future videos, please comment or send me a link as I'm looking for more ideas. Thank you very much.